Tonight on News 22.
Troops on the U.S.-Mexico border as the migrant caravan gets closer to the United States.
Local temples set up vigils for lives lost in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting.
And virtual reality is playing a big part in helping local kids learn.
All that and more on News 22 Tuesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Adán Contreras.
And I'm Shelby Kapp.
The troops President Trump ordered to the border are arriving in the borderland.
By the end of this week, there are expected to be more than 5,000 military troops along the border. Monday morning, CBP officers were seen in riot gear blocking traffic on the Paso del Norte Bridge in downtown El Paso. Video shot by bridge crossers and Mexican media shows officers on the bridge in riot gear. There are already groups of migrants sleeping on the bridge waiting to be allowed into the United States to seek asylum. President Trump has another idea to limit immigration. He wants to do away with the so-called birthright citizenship. The 14th Amendment was established in 1868. Grants anybody born on U.S. soil automatic citizenship. Trump wants to end citizenship for the children of non-citizens and those who are here illegally. Trump says he has the power to do it contrary to what others say.
Executive order.
Exactly.
Right.
Have you thought about that?
Yes.
Tell me more.
It was always told to me that you needed a constitutional amendment.
Right.
Guess
14th
what?
Amendment.
You don't.
You don't.
Number one, you don't need that. Number two,
I mean, that's in dispute.
You could definitely
That's very much in dispute.
Well, you can definitely do it with an act of Congress, but now they're saying I can do it just with an executive order.
Some say the president is doing this simply to convince his anti-immigrant base vote. Today's immigration debate brings to mind an earlier time when children were punished for speaking Spanish.
As News 22's Michaela Romero reports, that practice has had far-reaching effects and lots of regret.
Those are the sounds of Old Town Albuquerque on the weekend. Rosella Urea grew up in Albuquerque and has always been bilingual. Most people today believe being bilingual is an advantage, but it's not always been that way. She remembers well her Catholic elementary school.
I felt very ashamed to speak Spanish. I didn't want to be Spanish. In fact, when I went home, I told my mom, I do not want to be Spanish anymore. I don't want to.
Rosella said the nuns would hit students if they spoke Spanish.
If you spoke Spanish, you were punished by the nuns. We had to put out our hands, stick them out, and they would hit us with a ruler.
That experience caused her to not teach her children Spanish, but now she wishes she had.
And perhaps I hindered them by not having them speak bilingual because I spoke bilingual, and now that would be a great asset.
Rosella is one of the many parents who did not teach her children Spanish for the same reason. And it can be awkward for those now grown children.
Yeah, there's times I wish I would know Spanish, especially when I'm in a surrounding with a lot of other Hispanic people. They assume that I know Spanish just because of the way I look, and even my name. My name is Spanish, but I don't know Spanish, so there's times it's embarrassing.
NMSU linguistics professor Dr. Patricia McGregor Mendoza is very familiar with Edward's experience.
The thing is that when we think about languages, we aren't just listening with our ears. We're taking in the whole package. So people make mistakes. They make assumptions based on what their expectations are. So if people look a particular way, they expect them to use a particular language.
And she says the whole attitude about languages is confusing.
No, ironically, the school system has always been a little schizophrenic regarding languages because when kids were little, they would try to extract anything out of them that was not English or not related to mainstream culture.
She says the controversy over language has a racist component that many people don't realize. She says we need to understand that and listen to each other. Michaela Romero, News 22.
So today was cooler than it's been the past few days. You even have to bring out a little sweater.
I know October's been all over the place. I wonder how November will be. But Jackie is next with our local weather.
Well, it definitely did feel cooler Unlike yesterday, because of all the cloud cover we saw today, right now temperature is sitting at 68 degrees, winds coming from the west at 14 miles per hour, our humidity at 39%, dew point at 44 degrees, and a barometer at 29.99 inches. Now today we hit a high of 76 degrees, slightly below our average of 73 degrees after an overnight low of 51. Now taking a look at these record temperatures, back in 1994 we hit a high of 78 degrees and in 1980 a low of 48 degrees. Now we didn't have any rain for today, but our yearly rainfall sits a little over 7 inches. Now that's all I have for your current conditions. Back to Shelby and Adon for more news.
President Trump is in Pittsburgh today. He invited congressional leaders to go with him, but they said no.
He was there as funerals were taking place for members of the Tree of Life Synagogue who were murdered. Omar Jimenez has more from Pittsburgh.
President Trump visiting a grieving community in Pittsburgh Tuesday. The same day, funerals begin for the 11 victims of Saturday's massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Among those being laid to rest, brothers Cecil and David Rosenthal and Dr. Jerry Rabinowitz.
They were the sweetest, most wonderful people you could know, not an ounce of hate in them whatsoever.
While the community mourns unimaginable loss, some are criticizing the timing of the president's visit.
Please, if it's not too late, put it off a week. Any president that would come in, any president would be a distraction.
Pittsburgh's mayor believes Trump should wait until after the funerals so the focus can be on the victims and their loved ones.
Our focus as a city will be on the families and the outreach that they'll need this week and the support that they'll need to get through it. Once we get past that, then I think there's the opportunity for presidential visits.
Community leaders urging everyone, regardless of how they feel about the president's visit, to focus on inclusion.
I turn to all of our elected leaders because hate doesn't know a political party. Hate is not blue, hate is not red, hate is not purple. Hate is in all.
The White House also invited top congressional officials to accompany President Trump, but all have declined. The president, along with First Lady Melania Trump, Jared Kushner, and Ivanka Trump, will be visiting a hospital where some of the wounded are still recovering.
Meanwhile, Las Cruces Jewish communities have come together to honor the victims in Pittsburgh. Services were held at Temple Bethel and a Levi Shabbat Jewish Center. Hundreds gathered to light candles, recite prayers, and offer comfort and support. Las Cruces police are investigating 2 separate shootings that sent 2 men to the hospital on Sunday morning. In the first shooting, a 39-year-old man was shot in the leg. The victim says he was shot on Doña Ana Road, but officers were unable to find the exact location. Later, police say a 21-year-old man was in the parking lot of a Pickwick store on East Amador when he was shot. Both injuries are non-life-threatening.
A man is in jail tonight after being charged with child abuse. Authorities arrested Joshua Salace after he allegedly spanked his 7-year-old stepson hard enough to leave visible bruising on his buttocks. The boy's school nurse notified police after seeing the boy. They believe that Salace used a belt on the boy's bare skin 8 to 10 times over the last 2 weeks. The boy is now with his grandmother. Salace is being held without bond.
The NMSU STEM outreach program started about 20 years ago with the goal of providing out-of-school programs to spark imagination and inspire innovation.
The program has evolved and provides cutting-edge technology in the Tech Center here on campus. News 22's Alfredo Naum visited the center and brings us the details.
The natural state.
Victor Valenzuela is practicing flying an airplane, but he's not in the air. It's a simulator.
Fuel.
He's a student from El Paso's Bowie High School visiting the Tech Center at the NMSU College of Education.
And we're trying to figure out how to get the aircraft off the ground and into the air and then get it back on the ground.
The simulators are designed to help students develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
It's not really guided. They have to kind of figure out how to do what they're told to do in their own way.
We landed and crashed.
Another piece of technology that helps teach critical thinking as well as basic science and physics are these virtual reality goggles. I can put them on and see what it's like to float weightless through a space station.
The unique thing about this tech center is that it's the only one right now on a college campus in the U.S.
Most of these students don't have anything like this technology in their high schools.
Oh my God, it's so pretty.
and it's a real eye-opener when they come to NMSU and see it.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
So I think we're privileged to come to this university.
For the past year, middle and high school students have been coming to work in the lab. Livon Church says that the next step is to partner with one middle school to create an entire curriculum around this technology of the future. Alfredo Naum, News 22.
And stay tuned, Jackie will be back with your national forecast.
And later, it isn't the great pumpkin, but it is a little sweeter. What we are talking about when News 22 continues.
I want young adults to know that the world is a much bigger place than just the spot that they are occupying at this time. And PBS presents that in a very positive manner. I have left my PBS station a gift in my will. I want to be certain the programs presented by PBS are carried forward to future generations.
Registering to vote in New Mexico is easy. Forms are available at Department of Motor Vehicles offices and your county clerk's office. And those with a driver's license or other state ID may register to vote online at sos.state.nm.us. You must be 18 years old at the time of the next election. Voting is a responsibility of citizenship. This message brought to you by KRWG.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters.
The Las Cruces Fire Department wants to make sure your Halloween is a glowing one.
They're giving away glow sticks for trick-or-treaters. The glow sticks help trick-or-treaters become more visible to motorists. Free glow sticks will be available at Las Cruces Fire Stations 1 through 6 and 8 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. The police department reminds the community to make sure trick-or-treaters go in groups and keep to sidewalks.
This past weekend was the 12th annual Great Pumpkin Candy Drop.
The children of Las Cruces were treated to a ton of delicious candy. On Sunday, I was there and spoke to some of the early trick-or-treaters. Candy rained down on hundreds of children at Mag Fields, and they raced to pick it up. Lonnie Bustamante brought his 2 kids, and it's the second year in a row they have been here.
I like just getting out of the house. There's not much to do in Las Cruces, so it's fun when we do get together and we all do something for the kids.
It was the first time for the Schwartz family, and they weren't disappointed.
It's great!
The Las Cruces Parks and Recreation Department sponsored the event, and Jackie Meraz organized it. The purpose is for kids to have a safe Halloween.
So this is just a way for them to get candy without having to go door to door. You know how things get crazy.
Anyone above the age of 5 was allowed to participate in the Great Pumpkin Candy Drop, and as you can see behind me, the kids left no piece behind. Jackie says Richard Weaver of Weaver's Welding Company is the candy man. He gathered about 8,000 pounds in donated candy from local grocery stores.
They start gathering candy, I don't know, I want to say probably late August, and start piling it up, stockpiling it for the event.
While the kids didn't know about the work that went into making this happen, they did enjoy the result.
Save it. All my candy in one day.
They love it, so they're happy, I'm happy. It's a gift that keeps on giving, I guess.
This was the 12th Great Pumpkin Candy Drop, and Jackie Meraz says it's become a Las Cruces Halloween tradition that's attracting more families every year.
And I'm sure the kids are going to be out and about again tomorrow because it's Halloween.
Yes, and Jackie is next with the weather.gov national forecast.
Well, northern New Mexico and most of Colorado are expecting snowfall starting tonight into tomorrow, so they are expecting a white Halloween. Now, these areas in the blue are expecting 1 to 12 inches of snow, so it definitely is going to be a cold Halloween for these areas right here. Now, taking a look at our next map, severe thunderstorms are going to be interrupting parts of Texas, Louisiana and Ohio, the Halloween is going to be interrupted because of the severe thunderstorms going on. These winds are expected to travel up to 65 miles per hour, so kiddos are definitely going to need to stay indoors to stay safe from these lightnings and thunder that's going to happen. Now, taking a look at our next map, heavy rain is not going away. There is a flash flood warning for Little Rock, Nashville, Cincinnati, and Cleveland as well. Now, they are expecting this heavy rain to start tomorrow night into Thursday. Now, definitely they are looking at 6 inches of rain, so a lot of these kiddos are going to have to stay indoors and watch Halloween movies for their Halloween. Now, that's all I have for your national forecast. I'll be back after the break with your New Mexico weather.
Morning Edition, weekdays from 5 to 9 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
Nature's 3-part series continues, from the oldest desert in Africa to the highest mountain on Earth. Cats are leading extraordinary lives. Big or small, cats have conquered the planet.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
On Nova, victims of a gruesome slaughter.
They have suffered extreme violence. The rope is still visible around the neck.
A moment of terror frozen for thousands of years.
This body goes back to the early Bronze Age.
Can modern forensics solve the mystery of who they were and how they died?
It's an image of ritual killing.
Ghosts of Murdered Kings on Nova.
Wednesday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Welcome back. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current conditions here in New Mexico. Farmington and Santa Fe and Gallup are pretty cool, sticking around those lower 50s for their temperatures. Albuquerque 59, Ruidoso 54, and Deming at 67 degrees. Now taking a look at your Halloween temperatures, Farmington 54 degrees, Santa Fe 39, Albuquerque 66, Clovis 45, Ruidoso 48, and Deming at 55 degrees. Now taking a look at sister cities near our area, Alamogordo is looking at some potential thunderstorms tonight with a low of 53 degrees and tomorrow a high of 60 degrees with some morning showers as well. Now Truth or Consequences looking at partly clear skies with a low of 49 degrees and tomorrow some possible showers with a high of 63 degrees. And in Silver City, they are looking at some potential for thunderstorms as well with a low of 43 degrees and tomorrow looking at some thunderstorms as well for their morning with a high of 58 degrees. Now here at home, we are expecting maybe some potential thunderstorms as well with a low of 51 degrees and tomorrow windy is going to be definitely windy and our high 66 degrees. Now that's all I have for your New Mexico weather. I'll be back later with your 5-day forecast, but for right now, back to the desk for more news.
There was a festive walk in Las Cruces this past weekend.
But this was no cakewalk. This was the Downtown Zombies Walk. News 22's Alfredo Nayum takes us downtown where there was plenty of brain to go around.
So tonight is the annual Downtown Las Cruces Partnership Zombie Walk. It's Zombie Walk 2018. We have a few thousand zombies down here getting ready for a large parade on Main Street.
There are rules for Zombie Walk. The main rules are stay on the path, stay with your group, stay respectful of the group, don't touch the spectators, but give them a great show.
We came here 10 years ago and the Zombie Walk was just minimal. You know, it's like 1/16 of what it is today.
We have people that are very excited, as you can tell, and then there's some people that just don't like it, and all we do is tell them, come on down, check it out, get to know who the people are down here.
I will be here again next year, and it will be a surprise to my children what Mama will be next year, because every year I'm something different for them.
This just shows how the city is family orientated, because if you take a look at it, all the contestants were from babies up to grandpas and grandmas. And maybe next year I might do it.
So the football team had a tough loss this past weekend.
Well, hopefully they're going to win their last home game.
Hopefully.
And Kristen is going to tell us she's next with sports.
Thanks, Shelby and Dawn. Coming up in sports, find out how the NMSU women's soccer team finished the season. We'll be right back with News 22 Sports.
From great performances comes one of Broadway's best musicals, the Tony-winning An American in Paris. And when this boy meets this girl, Robert Fairchild and Leanne Cope dance their way into a gloriously old-fashioned love story. With a sensational Gershwin score.
Who could ask for anything more?
Look for An American in Paris, the musical.
Come on, it'll be fun.
Only on Great Performances.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. It's time to kick it with Kristen. The New Mexico State football team is back after losing 27-20 to Texas State this past weekend. The footage you are watching is from Aggie Vision. The Aggies had a slow start, allowing the Bobcats to lead 13-0 in the first quarter, but New Mexico State was able to catch up and tie Texas State 13-13. With a minute left in the first half, the Bobcats took the lead once again to bring the score to 20-13. The Bobcats opened the second half by expanding their lead over the Aggies 27-13. The Aggies were almost able to make a comeback, but the final score was 27-20 with the Bobcats on top. The Aggies' final home game will be Saturday at Aggie Memorial Stadium at 2 p.m. against Alcorn State. The New Mexico State women's golf team is in Hawaii this week for the Rainbow Wahine Invitational. The tournament was set to be a two-day 54-hole event. However, due to inclement weather, rounds 1 and 2 have been canceled. The tournament will be shortened to 18 holes on Wednesday. This is the final event of the fall for the Aggies. The women's golf team will be back in action on January 27th through the 28th for the Mission Hills Invitational. The New Mexico State women's soccer team is finished with their season. This past weekend, the Aggies lost their last match to UT Rio Grande Valley 3-2. New Mexico State had a strong first half, leading UT RGV 2-0, but ultimately dropped the match in overtime. The Aggies finished the season with an overall record of 2-16. The New Mexico State men's and women's basketball teams are getting ready to open up the 2018 season. The opening games will both be on November 6th in the Pan American Center. The women's game will tip off at 5 p.m. against UT Permian Basin, and the men's game will start at 7:30 p.m. against North Dakota State. Both head coaches are anxious for their opening games.
We play in a week from tomorrow, and every coach, I'd imagine at this point in your preparation, gets a little more nervous as the games get closer in terms of wishing you had more time, and I'm no different. I certainly would like a little more time to prepare for these games, but the calendar keeps moving, and we're going to be on the court here in about 8 days.
I think from the jump we have a very, very tough schedule. So that'll be, we just have to take every challenge on the right way and just compete every possession.
And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Jackie will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, a pumpkin that isn't so ordinary. More on that when News 22 continues.
Superstorm Sandy caught New York by surprise.
We were a city with zero coastal protection.
Can we defend one of the world's greatest cities from the next big storm and rising seas?
I don't think the answer is retreat from all of Lower Manhattan.
What if we just look at this a whole new way?
Wednesday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media. On Masterpiece.
How long will we turn a blind eye to the needy?
You're a
taking for her, don't you?
Your experience in dealing with unstable patients will prove invaluable.
There's nowhere like London for numbing the senses.
Poldark on Masterpiece. Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Hi, I'm Rick Bayless, and I'd like to invite you on a journey with me through a different Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula. On season 11 of Mexico One Plate at a Time, I'm going to introduce you to the region's most creative chefs, making truly amazing dishes inspired by the local markets and all the rich culinary traditions.
Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Trump has ordered that troops be sent to the U.S.-Mexico border as the migrant caravan approaches. Las Cruces temples are honoring the lives lost in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting with vigils. And local kids are having fun learning through virtual reality.
A twin of rapper Kanye West in pumpkin form is the creation of an Ohio woman. Jeanette Parras makes a pumpkin creation every year. This pumpkin weighs a surprising 315 pounds. She says the hardest feature to make for this year's pumpkin was the gigantic red "Make Pumpkins Great Again" hat. She has been making pumpkins for the past 30 years, and they get a lot of attention. We look forward to seeing what future creation she makes.
I wonder how long that pumpkin's gonna stay alive for.
I know, who knows?
Maybe only like 2 weeks or something.
I know.
But that's pretty cool that she did that.
That is pretty cool.
Short-lived, but.
So Jackie, what's our 5 days looking like?
Well, it definitely is going to be cooler than we have seen it these last couple of days. It is going to be windy for Halloween, unfortunately, and those temperatures are staying around the mid to upper 60s until Friday. Then we start to warm up for your Saturday, but then we start to cool down again for your Saturday.
Well, hopefully everybody will take some jackets when they go out trick-or-treating.
I know I am.
Yep. And don't forget, you can catch all of today's stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and latest on what the News 22 team is up to.
And that's all for News 22 Tuesday. I'm Shelby Capp.
I'm Alan Contreras.
I'm Jackie Loara.
Good night.
Good night.
This news brief in Espanol is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Los saluda Raquel López en este breve informativo de Noticias 22. La caravana de inmigrantes centroamericanos que viaja de México a la frontera de los Estados Unidos ha decidido el camino para llegar a su destino. Una semana de las elecciones intermedias, el Pentágono dijo que el lunes que enviará a más de 5,000 soldados a la frontera del suroeste esta semana en una operación militar para detener a los inmigrantes que viajan al norte. El número de tropas es más del doble de los 2,000 que están en Siria luchando contra el grupo del Estado Islámico. Mientras que en Estados Unidos el presidente Donald Trump evalúa la firma para bloquear las solicitudes de seguridad en la frontera con México. La policía arrestó a un hombre de Las Cruces sospechoso de azotar a su hijastro y dejar moretones. Joshua Salais, de 23 años, es acusado de un cargo de abuso infantil. Los investigadores descubrieron que el 22 de octubre un niño de 7 años de edad estaba en la escuela primaria y tenía dificultades para sentarse. El niño fue a la enfermera de la escuela donde descubrió que tenía moretones negros y morados en sus glúteos. Tras una investigación, Salais usó un cinturón en la piel desnuda del niño que lo usó de 8 a 10 veces durante las últimas semanas. La custodia del niño ha sido entregada a su abuela. Para Noticias 22, Raquel López.